Imagine it is February 28, 2026. The regime that has ruled Iran for 47 years collapses. In the following weeks, global headlines focus exclusively on the geopolitics, military strikes, the fate of the nuclear program, and the scramble for regional control. But while the cameras track the movement of weapons, they are missing a story with significantly larger consequences. The cage around a country of 90 million people has just been removed, and the sheer volume of resources and talent being released is unlike anything we've seen in the 21st century. This graph highlights a reality almost no one acknowledges. Despite decades of repression, Iran has maintained a 98% youth literacy rate. Even more striking, 70% of the country's engineering graduates are women. To put that in perspective, Iran produces the third highest number of engineers in the world. These are the metrics of a high-functioning, advanced economy, currently compressed into a state of total isolation. It is a massive, pressurized bottleneck of human capital, and the pressure has finally reached its breaking point. This rapid advancement isn't an anomaly. It is a return to a 7,000-year historical baseline. The Cyrus Cylinder, shown here, dates back to 550 BC. It is considered one of the first declarations of human rights in history, establishing religious freedom and dignity for conquered peoples, long before the concept of written law existed in the West. During the Golden Age, Persian scholars effectively built the foundations of modern life. Al-Khwarizmi invented algebra, and the very word algorithm, the logic driving every AI system today, is a Latinized version of his name. Even in the modern era, the trajectory was clear. Between 1963 and 1977, Iran's GDP was growing at a sustained rate of 9 to 10.5% every single year. At the time, it was one of the fastest modernizing countries on the planet, with a burgeoning middle class and a booming secular economy. That momentum stopped in 1979. A developing superpower was handed to a theocratic regime that converted the country's vast potential into a mechanism for regional conflict and internal oppression for the next 47 years. An uncaged Iran is not a developing nation trying to find its footing. It is a sophisticated civilization reverting to its role as a scientific and economic powerhouse. The revolution triggered one of the most significant brain drains in history. Experts estimate the cumulative loss of human capital at over $38 billion, a figure that represents double what the country earns annually from oil exports. That talent didn't disappear. It relocated to the boardrooms of the world's most powerful companies. Dara Khosrowshahi, pictured here, left Iran as a child and eventually became the CEO of Uber. The reach of the Iranian diaspora extends through the entire foundational history of the internet. Pierre Omidyar founded eBay, and thousands of other Iranian engineers and investors helped build the backbone of Google, Dropbox, and Airbnb. This represents a globally connected network holding hundreds of billions in capital. The moment the regime falls, you have an immediate bridge of expertise and investment ready to flow back into the country. Developing an economy usually takes generations. You build physical roads, then factory infrastructure, and eventually a service economy. It is a slow, linear process that most nations never fully complete. But some countries skip those steps entirely. Kenya skipped the need for physical bank branches by leaping directly to mobile banking through M-Pesa.
Today, a massive portion of their GDP moves through phones, bypassing the need for traditional brick-and-mortar infrastructure. Iran is positioned to execute the same maneuver with artificial intelligence. A coder in Tehran with an internet connection can now use AI agents, software programs designed to autonomously perform complex tasks, to build and scale global products without the need for traditional venture capital or physical office space. This technology compresses the development timeline. It allows a nation to bypass 50 years of industrialization and jump straight into a globally integrated AI-driven economy. The primary constraint on AI progress right now isn't code, it's electricity. The data centers required to train and run large-scale AI models consume staggering amounts of power, and global supply is struggling to keep up. Iran sits on the perfect solution. It holds 17% of the planet's proven natural gas supply, including South Pars, the single largest gas field on Earth. When you add some of the highest solar radiation levels on the planet, the energy payload is unmatched.
This chart highlights the massive market inefficiency. Industrial electricity in the US costs roughly 18 cents per kilowatt hour. In Iran, that cost is 1.5 cents. That is a 90% cost advantage in an industry where power is the single largest expense. For a billion-watt data center, this difference means hundreds of millions in annual savings. This economic gravity dictates where global AI infrastructure will be built. With the world's cheapest energy and a population ready to build, a free Iran becomes the logical hub for the global AI compute market. The first wave is immediate. Lifting sanctions floods the economy with investment, and the resumption of full oil and gas exports triggers double-digit GDP growth in year one. The second wave follows as Diaspora capital integrates with the 3,700 tech startups already operating inside Iran. This isn't just a financial injection, it's a total knowledge transfer from the top of the global tech stack. The third wave is the AI leapfrog. Within 5 years, a workforce of millions of female engineers becomes a dominant force in global software development, utilizing cheap domestic energy to undercut every other market. When these 3 waves hit an economy that has been starved for 47 years, the result is a massive acceleration in national wealth. Critics will point to Libya and Iraq as proof that regime change leads to chaos and power vacuums. They argue that the aftermath of the Islamic Republic would be no different. However, the 2022 Women Life Freedom protests, shown here, reveal a different reality. Iran possesses a highly organized civil society that has demonstrated a unified desire for progress. Combine that literacy and internal organization with the backing of a wealthy, elite diaspora, and the risk of tribal collapse is significantly lower than in previous examples. We have to understand the physics of constraint. When you take the lid off a pressurized, resource-dense system, you don't get incremental growth, you get an eruption. Iran is currently losing $38 billion in human capital every year. By stopping that drain and leveraging 17% of the world's gas for the AI revolution, Iran is following the same explosive path that took South Korea from poverty to a global leader. Within 25 years, this trajectory places Iran among the top 10 economies in the world, permanently shifting the global balance of power.